Yes, we did it. Okay, coach. It says the coaches that we start on at 1 p.m. in your 1 p.m. Yes, in your time, 9 p.m. in our time. We have 1 more minute, but evet. Coach, we are ready. Coach, could you hear me?
Yes, I hear you. Are we on live?
Yes, we are live.
All right.
Okay. Thank you to join us and thank you for accept our invitation. It is great pleasure to have you here. And we tried to last year try to have you in our clinic in Istanbul, but we had some couple problem because of the travel. Now we start with the webinar, then hopefully next year, for example, we will be with you will be with us in Istanbul. I guess. I hope.
Too, I would look forward to that. Thank you.
Okay, Coach, you start to your presentation, and we have, I think, 2 topics. One of them, your organization in under 17, and the second thing is how you prepare, how you plan your practices with the drills and everything. So the microphone is on your side right now.
Thank you for Ron for having me on this clinic. I have some really good friends in international play that are coaches that are really good friends. So if you're on, well, I appreciate it, and for some with USA Basketball, and hopefully give you some things to think about for your organization, your teams, and teams. You know that the Turkish Basketball Federation is different than our USA Basketball standpoint of kids playing high school basketball here, and then playing club basketball after that. So it's a little bit different from we kids for our teams as well all across our country. So let me first start by saying that I coached high school basketball in the state of Iowa for 42 years. And we are located about a 3-hour drive to west, right in the heart and middle of the United States. Our office, our USA Basketball office, is in Colorado. Is more to west state, but we are in the same building as our U.S. Olympic and Paralympic Committee building. So that's that's where our facilities are located. So after coaching high school basketball during that same time, also USA Basketball as a coach. I coached the Hoop Summit, which my first with USA Basketball 19. And the Hoop Summit is our best 19-year-olds, best high school seniors playing against national players. And at that time, the best player for the international team was from Germany. His Nowitzki, who and obviously that was a big coming out party for him, because at that time nobody really knew about really scouted. The NBA hadn't really scouted him a lot, so that game was his view of for many NBA scouts in the States, and he played very well. After I coached in that game, I coached in our Donald game, which is that many of you recognize as McDonald's All-Americans. I coached in the Jordan class for twice, All-Star game, and then I coached in the we used to have festivals, and these we brought in high school kids from around the country and played a mini Olympics with them, north, south, east, west. At that, LeBron James, James Harden, Jason Kidd, all those players played for us during our festivals. And then FIBA and U17 tournaments. And this is really important for us with USA Basketball, because now we young players playing international basketball. And previously, before this time, we didn't have any international competition until our senior team. So our kids really did not know, until U18 or U19. So our kids really did not know much about international competition until they got out of high school. And so when FIBA started this U16, U17, that was a big boost for us as well. So that's kind of what it is. And then I coached. I coached the U16 teams and U17 teams. Obviously, most of you know that the U16 is a qualification tournament for the U17 World Championship. I coached that from 2009 until 2018. We were fortunate to have some really, really good players, had a lot of success. We won 10 gold medals during that time, and did not lose a game. So, but again, part of that is due to, obviously, we had a lot of good culture with our players. That's really important as well. In fact, I think it's 2016, we played Turkey in the gold team in Gosa. So Turkey had a really, really fine team. I know they upset a few teams to find Canada, who had really good.
Coach,
yes.
Sorry to interrupt you. Because of your internet, probably your voice is going up and down, and sometimes we hear you very clearly. Sometimes your voice and the video is paused. So what can we do with the internet?
I've never had. You haven't had trouble. So I don't know.
You are closer to your router or to your?
Yeah, I'm only about meter from it.
Okay.
Let me move a little closer. Sorry, Murat.
Okay, sorry about it.
Difference. So I'll continue, and Murat, if that's better, I hope. Still cutting out some?
Little bit.
Is that better, or she's still hesitating? Speak.
Your voice is cutting again. Do you have a cable for the internet or you use it wireless?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I can
Okay.
try to unplug it and plug it back in.
Okay. Okay. We wait for you.
All right.
Yani Türk aklı verdik gerçi açıp kapatacak ama çok gidip geldi sesi. Türk Telekom'un oraya servisi zayıf herhalde. Amerika'ya biraz zayıf Türk Telekom'un servisi. Fehmi abi gidiyorsun Türk Telekom deyince tabii. Koç geldi geri.
Murat abi bir şey sorabilir miyim?
Tabii İbrahim.
YouTube'da kaydettiğimizde de ses aynı şekilde mi çıkacak?
Muhtemelen.
Tamam. Onu öğrenmek istedim abi.
20 saniye gecikmeli gidiyor YouTube'da ama her şey aynı çıkıyor.
Hayır, biliyorum fakat hani onun yani koçun sesi de teklemeli mi çıkıyor? O yüzden merak ettim.
Ha. Buraya ne geliyorsa oraya da o gidiyor.
Anladım abi. Tamam. Teşekkürler abi.
Rica ederim. Koç. Burada gibi gözüküyor ama
Hocam router'ın yanına yaklaşıp kabloyla bağlantı sağlamasını söyledik. Aslında aç kapat demedik de yani genel olarak o koç sanırım şey anladı. Hani tekrar çıkarayım takayım kablolarını şeyin. Router'ın gibi bir şey.
evet.
Anladı. Öyle bir problem mi yaşıyoruz şu an?
Abi adamcağızın Necati abi Yağız da burada. Çok uğraştık yani gelsin diye geçen sene. Fakat bir takım problemler oldu seyahatiyle ilgili. Getiremedik. Şimdi de Yağız sağ olsun iletişimi kurdu. Geçen hafta Necati abi ben Yağız toplantı yaptık. Hafta başı galiba. Ondan sonra fakat oradaki internette hiçbir sıkıntı yoktu. Bugün onlarda da sokağa çıkma yasağı varsa.
All right, let's see if this is any better.
Yeah, we hear you better, but we cannot see you. Yeah, okay. We have, okay, coach.
All right,
We have you
you
now.
see me? Okay, I'm going to share a couple things on my screen.
Please.
It says host disabled attendee screen sharing. So can you allow me to share?
Yes, just a second. Sorry about it. Yeah, you can do it right now.
Okay.
National Team Gold Standards.
Let me explain this, but I think for our programs, Coach K started this, Coach Krzyzewski from Duke University, who coached our Olympics since 2008 through 2016. He came up with the gold standards with his team. So we use with our junior national team, my high school team as well. So we call them gold standard. We call them standards as opposed to rules, as opposed to things that have a negative connotation. Because I think standards has real positive, something that's real positive, and rules have more of a kind of go through what we mean by standards. I'm sitting in a room with Coach K, as all players in a team meeting before practices started in 2008. If you remember 2004, United States won a bronze medal in the Olympics, which obviously is not was not good enough for us. And then in 2008, they took over as a coach, and we had what we call the Redeem Team. Well, LeBron James is sitting in the meeting, and LeBron raises his hand and says, I'd like to sing here with the best players in the world. And LeBron looks around and names off Carmelo Anthony and Chris Paul and James, Kobe Bryant. And he says, we have no excuses not to win. And Coach K says, all right, that's our first gold standard, is no excuse. And so that's how to be part of our USA basketball standard. And with my high school team, no excuses can really, I think even kids, 16, 15-year-olds, make excuses when things don't go right, make excuses when they're not playing well. It's meant for their son or daughter when things are going well. Even coaches, we make excuses sometimes. Oh, the referees or the officials were good. What that gives, I think, a way of getting out of the fact that maybe they didn't play very well. There's an excuse for it. So really on no excuses. Something happens during the game. Well, the referee didn't say, no excuses. So this is our first standard, which is really important. We have a chat on, so if you have questions as we go along at the end, then I'll answer some questions, and I'll be to coaches at the end. I'll give you my email address, and I can send these out to you. Number 2 is great defense. One of the things I take a lot of pride is because we think we have physically really gifted players. And if we put a lot of attention and into developing our defense, we think that's probably going to help us when our offense isn't going quite like it should. So we in great detail probably spend sometimes the majority of our time playing with our defense, press, full court press. I don't expect to get a turnover every time. And I think sometimes kids think that if you're pressing and playing defense, you need to get a turnover. You're playing really great, just making the opposition take poor shots and getting a rebound. So we emphasize that a lot. Number 3 is communication. Communication is one of the most important things that happen on the court. Whether you're coaching in Turkey or Spain, it's a very difficult thing for young players to do. I see a lot of practices and go to a lot of games, evaluate players a year. And really difficult for young players to do. They don't know what to say. So we have to teach communication. There's a couple ways we teach communication. We have some rules, some standards for our communication. One of them is you look each other in the eye. So if a player has something to say to me or another, that's really important. And then from eye contact, they would tell each other, we say, tell each other the truth. Whether it be defense or offensively, they make eye contact and make that communication. And we think there's three ways you communicate early. So if you're calling out a screen, you would call out a screen early before that screen. Second, communicate often, early and often. You'd say screen, for instance. So you'd say 3 times. So we give the players, you would say, communicate 3 times and then out. So very loud and on the court. And that gives the players some definition of how to communicate. So if they're playing help side defense, help times. If they're basketball, they'd say ball 3 times. So they get the idea of what to say and then how to say it. We think that's really helped our communication as much as anything. Another thing we do to help communication is we try and put players in a position during practice they have to communicate. As a coach, I would say, let's drill. And we have our drills numbered or named. I would say, all right, let's do the Texas drills. And then it's up to the players to communicate, to get in position. I would often call out a player. Like I would say, Joe, you did a great job of showing leadership in that drill. You were the first one there, and you were getting organized. So it develops leadership as well. Instead of me as a coach saying to them, giving them every direction, we tell our players, we try and give our players too much. Let them figure things out. You would hear me say in a practice session many times, figure things. I think that's really important to do. So communication is obviously one of the things that we stress a lot. The last thing we do with communication, we do my team, and sometimes I coach my grandson's 10-year-old youth team, mini basket team. We would end practice with communications, and in that circle, we would circle everybody up. And making a circle is really important because everybody's the same, whether it's your least skilled player, your best skilled player. They're in a circle, and I think that's really important. Everybody feels in a circle. They hold hands, and we end up with a question of the day. And that question for the day it may be, tell the person to your right what he did well in practice. So I might be holding hands, and I would turn to my right, look Billy in the eye, and say, Billy, I like the round. And then Billy would go on to the next, all the way around the circle. And there's only one person that would do the communicating, and everybody else would be listening. Every day. And they're out of their comfort zone a little bit, but we think this has done a great job and helped us communicate. Players feel more comfort practice on a real positive note. We change questions on a daily basis. We change questions every day. So next day it might be, tell the person to your left what you do to get better. So I would look to my left and I would say, Joe, I need to get better with my left hand. So now they're making their own thinking about what they have to do to get better. Where is their weakest skill? And they're going to try and make that over with everyone what they themselves need to work on. So instead of me as a coach telling Joe, hey, Joe, your left hand's not, he understands that himself. So this is kind of the communication that we end up with. We might ask another question: what's your favorite movie? Or favorite movie? If you could own any type of car, what kind of car would it be? Just those kind of things to get the players talking. The best we ever ask is, what is one thing that you as a player could say that nobody else knows? Best question is number 4, trust. So we've had that in many cases where members of our junior national team would say, my killed when I was 5 with a gunshot. My dad's in jail. I was raised by my grandma. So we get the whole thing with that, and that develops so much trust in the players. So communication, I think we have to really emphasize that. A quiet gym is a losing gym. A quiet gym is a losing gym. We want a gym that communicate with everybody else. I think the older players get, I go to NBA practices, and obviously they can communicate much better and much easier. Communicate the same way early, out, and often. They look each other in the eyes. So if we can start this at a younger age, they have to do that. Number 4 is trust. Trust is, of all these 15 ones, I think trust is the most important. We believe coaches and players are extremely important. Coaches should never promise anything that you cannot deliver. If you do, you're losing trust with players. I'll give you an example. When I was coaching my high school team, and I was a very young coach, have maybe a free throw contest where we would give away a pair of socks for the winner free throw contest. Well, one time I forgot to give the player his socks, and it went on for a week or two, and finally the player said, "Hey, thanks, coach, for winning a free throw contest." Well, that's a trust factor. If he would never have said anything, and I would never have given him his socks, I think coaches make promises we can't keep. You can't make promises like, I'm going to start you or play you more minutes if you get better balling. If you don't start him or playing more, then you've lost a lot of trust. And you want your players to have trust because that's the buy-in you will buy into your collective responsibility, being committed to each other. We win together. How are we going to be committed to each other? Well, we're going to be committed in a lot of ways. We're going to be ready to help on defense. We're going to be ready. We're going to rebound together. We're going to be just committed to each other on the court. Number 6 is care. We have each other's back. We give aid to a teammate. How you care for. I notice a lot of teams that I go watch play, and we did this with our national team as well. But somebody falls down or takes a charge or goes to the floor after loose ball, and they're on the floor. 4 of our guys on the floor to come over and pick them up. That's just a form of caring. How we give aid to a teammate. Jason Kidd, who now obviously isn't playing in the NBA, but he was coach for many years for the Milwaukee head coach. He was coach during the same meeting as LeBron talked, but he came up and said, if we are going to, we need to be on time for everything we do. That shows respect for coaches. It shows respect for team. So instead of having a rule to be on time, we're going to have the standard of respect, which includes being on time. And I thought that was really a good form of respect. It's not necessarily a rule. It's a standard. Number 8 is intelligence, smart, take good shots. 9, poise. We show no weaknesses. Poise is how you conduct yourself on the court. Sometimes you conduct yourself when things don't go well. Poise. When an official makes a bad call, that's poise. Flexibility. We can handle any situation. We don't complain. Flexibility is a standard with K, because you have to be flexible. Maybe a play breaks down, or you run a set and the defense takes away a certain aspect of that set. Players have to be flexible. They have to know what to do on the court. Unselfishness. Number 11 is unselfishness. We're connected. We make the extra pass, and our value is not measured in playing time. Too many times, players think the only value they have on the court. And many of our players with our national team, in fact, some of our guys that are 12th guys end up making the NBA. Their value is not measured in playing time. Their value is measured in what they do to help the team get better. This whole communication aspect of it. So one question might be in our communication circle at the end of the day would be, all right, besides tell him what you bring to the team, how you help us win if you don't play in the game. And so now they have to think, what can I do to make our team better and help us win if I don't play? So that's a great communication question. And let me emphasize that just we have players that are going to make the NBA that don't make our team, or we have that are going to play in the NBA that are going to make millions of dollars that are going to be our 12th man. So unselfishness is really an important factor, and they all come from being the best player on the team or our area. So that's part of really our what we have to do is our cultures, that we have to take those players and really help them become value their value on the team without having playing time. Aggressive, we play very aggressive. We try and play hard every possession. That's one of our non-negotiables. Non-negotiables are something that you certainly emphasize every day in practice. Enthusiasm. This is fun. You got to have fun playing the game of basketball. And fun is something that coaches must bring every day in practice as well. I would say coaches must bring passion and enthusiasm to practice every day. Players don't have bad practices. Coaches may have bad practices. And coaches need to bring enthusiasm and passion in order to have good practices. If you just one drill being done, you're probably not going to get very much. Players aren't going to get very much out of that drill. So I think it's important that you have enthusiasm and passion. Coach K was very, he was really strong in that his assistants and everybody on the court was very passionate and showed a lot of enthusiasm on the court. Performance, number 14. We try, obviously the performances deal with practices. So if you have bad practices are usually the fault of a coach, not the fault of players. And then number 15 is pride. Let me say a little bit about pride, because I think players from Turkey and international players have much more pride than our players do playing for your country. We have very little opportunity for our players to play for USA. They're playing for their high school, they're playing for their club team, they're playing for a lot of things, but very rarely do they play for their team, unless they make our top 12 and then they represent, say, basketball in competition. So one of the things that we do is we always emphasize and really show our players how much pride players in other countries have playing for your team. And so I think that has helped us to see players that are having a great pride in their country. That is that's one thing that we have to emphasize as well, is that we have to have great pride. And really, there's not a lot of ways that you represent your country in the United States. Obviously, you can by joining the military, you represent your country. But playing basketball is another way to represent your country, which is extremely important, and that takes away. So that's a pretty high standard for us. So those are the 15 standards that we have now. We have every player sign the back of these, and then we take one of these standards every day and visit about it. It's not just a one-time deal where Coach K gave these standards out to the players at the beginning of the training camp and then never talked about them before. We talk about at least one every day before practice. So we might talk about the next day before practice. We all have notebooks that we write down what we're talking about. So I'd say, all right, and Coach K would say, we're going to talk about gold standard number 8 today, intelligence. Give me 2 sentences, write down 2 sentences in your book about what intelligence game of basketball and how that's important to our team. So then we'd have players communicate that to the rest of the team. So I think that's really important on a daily basis. And we did this on our high school team as well. Now, we may not have 15 of these for school, a little different, depending on what I think is necessary. I even have some gold standards for 3 gold standards for them. So even though you're coaching a mini basket team, I think it's important that you go ahead and you ask them in the chat box, and I will cover these. I'll cover these later. Let me these are what we call some culture slides, and you picture. I see these. Culture. This is kind of what we have to have as a team. Our is really more important than anything we on the court, because we have players for a short period of time. How are we going to establish what we want done? Really, these come from all different parts of the country. They come with many different cultures. So blend these into really a team. And we don't necessarily take the best 12 players. We have to make the best team. And so a definition of a coach, and we're all coaches looking at this, the definition of you look at our coach is pulled by horses. And I think this is really a good definition. The carriage is like a buggy and the horses are our players. So they're pulling us, and they got to all pull together. If we're going to have a great team, you can't have one trying to go one direction, another horse go the other direction. They have to all be pulling together. And this definition, we have a horse pulling in the same direction, and that's part of culture. Our player development curriculum, and the main one at the top, is a progressive development model. I'm not sure how many coaches out there coach what levels, but you coach, have to coach with your skills. In other words, if I'm coaching, I coach dribbling different for 9 and 10 years for 9 aren't ready for behind the back, between the legs type of dribbling, where our junior national team might be ready. 2-ball dribbling. Ready 2-ball dribbling? Probably not. So it's a progressive model that we really emphasize with our players. And I think that's important. For a great program, with your club teams, you have to progressively get better with the skills, but start at a level that their players have set at a skill before they can move on to a more difficult level of that skill. We look at for our skill levels: introductory, which is our youngest level, and then foundation is about 12 and 13, 12. Advanced would be high school, like my high school team, and then performance would be our college teams, NBA teams. So introductory level, 7-year-old, 8-year-old, the job of a coach is to make them. Somebody made us love the game as a coach, and for the most part, that was position where you're going to be making players love the game. Being positive. They want to get better. For practices, and then foundation. This is more of a community-based program where you have just with little community, and they get together and work on some skills. Now, I know you have mini basket as well, but the standard set in mini very similar, like the standard set for USA basketball, to lower the rims, lower the baskets, use smaller basketballs. Why do we some success? They have success, then they'll keep continuing the game of basketball. Foundational level is now 12, 13, where they really decide to get better at the game. And they decide that they want to advance their skills. And then now advanced is a much higher, and which is our highest level. I think this is important. Eight skills we teach, and we think these 8 skills are the 8 skills that need to be taught. First one is footwork and balance. And if I'm going to teach footwork, a lot of these skills may be overlooked at a certain level, but footwork and balance are basis. If you have good footwork and balance, you can perform better shooting, you can perform better passing, better ball handling. I go watch Jay Wright from Villanova, who is our assistant Olympic coach, and he is also won our NCAA national championship for 2 out of the 3 years. But he spends an enormous amount of time on footwork, jump stops, pivots, passing out of that. Balance are tremendous skill that I think is overlooked many times. We do with our junior national practice with just dribble passing. We just think that's really necessary, and build on that. Now with my 10-year-old, 10 minutes in practice in that. With my junior national team, I might spend 2 minutes. So the amount of time you spend based on skill is a second skill that you need to spend time on. And let me say this about skills, is that you never graduate from a skill. And what do I mean? You never good now at a skill that you never have to work on it. Steph Curry is a great example. Probably the best shooter in the NBA today, and he still makes 3 to 5. So even though he's a great shooter, he's not graduated from that skill. He's not good enough to say, I don't have to work on it anymore. In fact, the more you get, more can review and review those skills. Screening is a skill that is necessary to teach. Let me just teach until about the age of 12 to 13. We don't teach screening to 7, 8, 9, 10-year-olds. We want them to work on spacing, cutting, filling spots, and then we put screening in. So our progression for screening would be no screening at that age, screen away from the ball, and then we screen on the ball at a 14, 15-year-olds. So screening involves setting screens and using screens. Passing is really the best teams we play. In fact, I thought Turkey's team that we played in 2016 game was a very, very good passing and receiving team. And I think the best teams are the ones that pass, that can really pass a lot. I will say one the young players, passing technique should be taught. Elbows closed, thumbs down, step receiver is really important, teaching technique at a young age. As the players get older, I think you technique for decision making. Most of passing at a higher level, high school for us, 16, 17, national team, is decision a good pass, where to make a good pass. You might have to step out and make a low bounce pass to get the pass into the post, as opposed to chest pass, over passing, skip pass. Those are decision-making things. So I think really important that you understand that passing is in that level. Rebounding is a big skill. And we've kind of went away from a complete box out. In other words, we teach, first thing we do on the shot for defensive rebounding, we teach step. So we step toward our opponent, chuck. So we have an arm, and our opponent to us, we have an arm bar that separates us. So step, we call that chuck, and then we turn and get. You don't hold them out, unless obviously we have a scouting report that we need to do that. But rebounding, defensive rebounding, we step, turn, and get. And so players can really remember that in a good way. And then whole offense and whole defense. This is not 5-on-5 time, it's 3. One of the things that we have done a much better job with our teams is that we have done a much better job of implementing 3-on-3 into all our practices. We think it's really good to teach offense. It's great to teach defense. The court is more spread, figure things out themselves. It teaches them just how to play. Dribble, they have to go right, they have to go left. So they're show up in a 3-on-3 type of action. And, at a clinic, I would demonstrate some 3-on-3 stuff that I think is really important as well. But we might give a 3-man set. For instance, I'd be working on and roll. On a 3-on-3, we would have the pass made to the wing, and then we'd have in the offense, 3-on-3, he would set a side pick and roll. So now we're working on that aspect in a 3-on-3 situation. What you do coming off the screen, let them figure things out themselves. Much better way to teach, much better way for the players to understand than it is in a 5-on-5 situation. We teach very little 5-on-5 to our 7, 8, 9, 10-year-olds. We teach mostly out of the 3-on-3 or 4-on-4 aspect of that. Before I move on, of these 8 skills, I think there's 3 of them that you have to do every day in practice. And I combine skills, which is a great way to teach skills. But if I have a limited amount of time, I'm going to always teach footwork and balance every practice. My practice has that in it. If you would come and watch our junior national team practice, every day we have some kind of footwork and balance drill in that. We always have some shooting in our practice, whether it be game shots, whether it be form shooting, whether it be basket, but there's always going to be some kind of shooting that we look at during a practice. And then the other thing is we're always going to do some kind of passing and catching drills in practice. So if I only have time for 3 of them, I'm always going to do footwork, shooting, and passing. You know, obviously if you have more, we're going to do our offense, we're going to do screening, whatever. But I think it's really important that you have some plan in place. All right, of these 8 skills, what can I get in practice, and how am I going to implement this in our practice? And again, you get to whole offense. You're playing 3-on-3. These other skills are really worked on in a competitive setting. So you're working on footwork in a 3-on-3 setting, and you're working on ball handling, and then you're working on shooting, screening, and rebounding, all in a 3-on-3 setting. So you kind of combine those first 6 skills with what you're doing in the whole offense. And then the whole defense is part of that as well. So again, these are the 8 skills that we make sure that we check off that box, how we're going to teach it. And it's not really so much as a coach what you teach. I mean, obviously there's a lot of drills that you can look up on the internet for these, but it's how you teach it. How do you teach passing into the post? How do you teach passing for a skip pass? How do you teach passing to the wing when they're denied? How do you teach finishing around the basket, right and left hand? So I always tell coaches, it's really so much what you teach, but it's how you teach it. And that's the coaching part of teaching. That's the coaching that comes out in that. Again, extremely important. Real quickly, 4 C's. Choices that we make. We emphasize these with USA Basketball. Choices deal with on the court and off the court. Comfort zone. How try and get players out of their comfort zone. Comfort zone is a great term to use, because if we stay in a comfort zone as coaches and let players stay in a comfort zone, we're not going to get much better. How are we going to get them out of their comfort zone? How are we going to get them to the next level? You do it by getting them out of their comfort zone. The communication circle is that a little bit too. Compete. You got to be able to compete. Not all our players compete at a high level. Our junior. Some of them are not geared that way. So we have to compete and practice at a high level. And we compete by time and score. You know, a 7-year-old, I'm talking about dribbling, I might say, all right, how many dribbles, how many bounces can you take time in 15 seconds. Compete. That puts a lot of a little bit more pressure. You're out of their comfort zone and develops a way. So competition, you have to compete and practice with time and score. And then we talked about communication as well. Here's an example of our practice that we used with our junior national team. Just some drills. We always go 10-minute segments with our drills. We never go 15, 20. And if 10 minutes, then we move on. We don't try to stay there. The other thing I think that we really do a good job, we name every, because if we want to do it, our Texas drills, that way players know what drill to use. Really important. It saves time in practice. Accountable. So when I call out, all right, we're going to do our Texas drills, you can see who's leading that drill, who gets there first, who organized in the drills. So very important to name your drills, and players know how to do that. That pay your slow down. And then we always have a mind candy for the day. And a mind candy is just a statement that kind of helps the players practice. This mind candy says the thing that drives all real success is passion, enthusiasm for what you do. Some of our mind candy is high. There might be a mind candy. But we always talk about these, and I think players have to get ready for practice. Very important. You rest, because they come to practice with a lot of different things on their mind. You know, girlfriends, parents, in our case, you know, school that day. And many times they're not ready to practice from a mental standpoint. So I think that's really important. I know about out of time here, but I do want to, again, if you have questions, I'll leave time at the end for questions. Let me see if I can pull this up on the share screen. Can you see this on the screen?
Yeah, we see it, but it says that there's a notice. Yes, now we can see it clearly.
Okay, so in our 3-on-3 situations, do in our practice session, we will work on baseline drive, baseline drift. So as we're making good, as we make penetration with this, our players have to understand where to go in a 3-on-3. So our other player will go drift baseline for a pass. So as the guy dribbles, we have two options for pass on 3. You're teaching them how to play the game, but you're also teaching them, all right, what do I do when this happens? All right, guys. All right, we call this loop. We loop our big here and fill with our third. So anytime this happens in a game situation, we've already done it in a 3-on-3. So this is just an example of what we would teach in our 3-on-3 work. And then we'd let players figure it out. We would show them, and then we'd let them play 3-on-3. Can have a definite know what to do on it. High pick and roll is we start with 3 players. We run up and set the screen. Because this would alleviate some of the help in the screen. If we go too slow on the screen, X5 out and hedge or whatever. So this is a sprint. We may come off the screen, we roll here, and then this we would on the back. So we have their option there, or we skip past it on the lift. Again, we're just showing the play the 3-on. Then starting our play from this, then they can figure it out. Here's pick and pop with a slot cut. Here we a pick and roll in the slot. This is called a slot screen. So here we're coming off this here. Instead of rolling to the basket, the big pops here. And on this one, he makes a slot cut opposite. So we have different options to look for there as well. So again, these are just things that we give. We have a wave action here where we wave this guy off, flip screen, and DHO handoff, dribble handoff right here as he comes up. We get into that. Just some actions, and the actions baseline cross screen as well. So I can send these actions. Anybody that wants them, I can send via email. So I think, are we ready for questions, or what you want me to go on with another things, or what do you want here?
You can go to another things, then we will have a couple of questions, Coach.
Okay, so can I do I have time to one more thing? Oops. See if I can pull this one up. This is probably some of our favorite footwork and shooting drill called box. And in our box drills, we start from underneath the basket. 6 box drills that we do that works on pivoting, shooting, and ball handling and driving to the basket. Just what we do is pass the ball to yourself. So it's like they spin the ball out, come to a jump stop. So obviously the advantage of this is that they can use either pivot foot. So the first one is simply a drop step. This is you catch. The inside foot is your pivot. You drop step the outside foot, which obviously is different on both sides, and take a step, take a shot, not a layup. It's a power shot. Jay Wright from Villanova emphasizes this constantly and uses this drill a lot. Get to the basket with one dribble, not 2 dribbles. Players tend to over the ball. Okay. Second one is then we take an inside pivot, and it's just an inside pivot. You fake the drop step, and you pivot on the inside foot for a jump stop. So fake this move right here, come all the way around for a jump shot. Same thing. You come to a jump stop, fake the drop step, just like pivot, and then inside pivot, reverse pivot, fake the jump stop, one dribble, crossover, and get to the. So again, you're working on really your footwork, staying low, get those hips down, what we're doing. And then the last 3, pivot, where we're just turning and shooting. A lot of players, especially at the high post or the wing, catch the ball, Brad Beal, who played for us, was really, really good at this. Catch the ball, reverse pivot, shoot. Stay low as he made the pivot. He didn't come up and then go back down to shoot it. Right here, next one is you rip to the outside, reverse pivot, and then you would take a dribble, rip that ball through over, hard crossover step, and get to the basket. And then the last one is the 2-foot crossover reverse dribble. So these are called box drills. We start them because we start them from a box kind of set. Very easy to get through. You can get through all of them in 5 minutes. Great for our team. We high school team, we do them with 10, 11-year-olds as well. And it's something that the players can do on their own. So they can go home, they can do them in a gym by themselves, and really work on their footwork and shooting off these. Now we'll also go, instead of this box set, sometimes we'll out wing. So that would be a different kind of a little different level, little different footwork at the wing. Same base, say 6 shots off these. So we think these 6 steps, and it's been unbelievable how in 2 or 3 weeks of doing this every day, how comfortable players get with their feet, knowing how to use their feet, and then that. Scoring is, I would say, you learn how to shoot from the waist up. You learn how to shoot, you have your elbow in, your wrist back. That's how you learn how to shoot from the waist up. A nice U shape right here. But you learn how from the waist. So you really learn how to score by using your feet from waist down. Coach K was very adamant that players stay low. Really, Kobe Bryant was obviously one of the best at this ever. Michael Jordan back in his day obviously was too, but just keep those jump stopping, crossing over. If you can do all that, you have a much better chance of finishing and getting to the basket and scoring. So those are 6 of our box drills that we think are important. And a lot of times we'll do these as a post-practice drill. So I might say, all right, you 6 players, let's go through the box drills here for 5 or 10 minutes. And again, I wish I get to have a chance to come and speak at your clinic. I would show these box drills. I think you'd really like them demonstrated. Okay. Again, if you have those, I think I've been going for over an hour now. So I think if that's all right, I'll take questions, or if that works.
Yes. It looks like you talk about the under 10 and 12. You don't teach the screen.
Yep.
I want to ask about before 10 age, the age 10. When you advise which age do you advise to start to basketball? For the kids. I mean, organization practices.
We actually started ages 6 or 7. I think is a good place to start. But at that age, I mean, you really have to make it fun at that age. You use smaller basketballs. You use so they can basket. That's really important for that age. So we start. So we start ages 7, and then just progressively with that. But but I think that's a good age to start. They kind of can figure things out, but that really starts them love for the game, having a love, really a high level of, hey, I do love the game, and that's what we really emphasize at that age. Those things that's a little more difficult skill to learn. So we don't even teach that. We just want to teach spacing. 7, 8, 9-year-olds. All right, here's 3 on 0. You pass and cut to the basket. You fill. Pass, cut, fill. Those kind of things are really important. So, cutting, filling at a young age, and that's what we emphasize.
Another question from me, then I let the others ask, because I think they have some question as well. Between 12 and 14, you talk a little bit, you says that screen away, you use a lot of off picks, or you teach a lot of off picks. How about the pick and roll and zone defense?
Zone defense, we don't zone defense till about age of 13 or 14. We teach no zone. We teach no zone at a young age. We want the players, first of all, to be accountable, know how to guard a player. And then once they reach, once you're coaching 14 or 15-year-olds, then you can add zone, because once they learn how to play a man-to-man first, understand the game first before we go into a zone. But we teach no zone. Now that's not saying coaches don't do that. We don't recommend that, and we don't recommend teaching a zone at a young age. Now, a lot of coaches, some coaches who really want to win at age of 7 or 8, they'll just sit in the zone, because the kids at that age can't shoot the ball yet very far. So that's the game. But winning is not important at 7, 8, 9. That's not what you're coaching for. You're coaching to make the kids love the game and to develop their skills. And we are very definite on no zone until about ages 13 or 14.
And how about the pick and roll for that age? 14, 12, between 14 and 12, offensively.
Offensively?
Yep.
Yeah. Well, we don't teach any on-ball screens until about age 13, 14. Before that, we teach a lot of spacing, cutting, filling. Spacing is really an offense, and we want young. We'll put circles on the court for young players to. All right, you got to get to these circles. Make a cut to the basket, and then then the outside people have to fill your spot. So, and then we press with, all right, now we can screen away from the ball. So we may make a pass and we can screen away from the basketball at maybe ages 12 or 13, and then ball screening maybe age 14, because on ball screening, there's so much involved with that. That's a more difficult concept to pick up on ball screening. So we don't. That's the last thing that we enter into the skill level.
Okay, Coach. İbrahim, sorar mısın lütfen? Yeah, there are some other questions.
Tabii ki abi, sesim geliyor mu?
Evet.
Hello, Coach. Can you hear me?
Yes, very well. Thank you.
Coach, first of all, thank you for presentation. I listened with respect and most subject in your presentation, and learned a lot of things. Thank you.
Good. Yeah, my pleasure.
In fact, actually, my question is: are there any topics that are not in your presentation? And is the difference, what is the difference between your basketball and Europe getting closer, and so this is the case in the. I mean, what's the NBA playing like that, and European basketball main team playing like this, and but
Yep.
what I am asking is that what do you do different in the yacht teams? Maybe athletics or fundamentals. What is the difference?
Well, good question. I think we have learned a lot from the international game, especially at a young age. We want players that are very versatile. I think international basketball has taught us that we have to have players that can play more than one position. Too many times our players get locked into, all right, I'm a point guard. That's all I can play. Or I'm a 5 post player. We've changed our philosophy a little bit. We want players to be, can you play 2 and 3 and 4 positions? Can you be more versatile? And so that really goes with our defense, because if we switch, can we switch to a big on a guard, or a guard on a big type of thing. So I think versatility we've done a better job of that based on the international model. We also, position basketball, that's kind of the same thing. We want players that can do all the skills pretty well. We don't want them to be locked in on just, all right, I'm just a shooter, I'm just or whatever. We want players that can do all the skills. So we teach all skills to all players at a young age, and then as we'll progress, but we want all skills to all players. So all those 8 skills that we listed are really important for us, no matter if you're somebody who is a point guard or post player or wing. We have kind of gotten away from that. If that helps answer your question.
Thank you, Coach. Thank you,
Thank
Coach.
you, thank you, Coach.
Yep.
Ömer, you have one more question, Coach?
Okay.
Hi, Coach. Good to have you here.
Thank you. Appreciate you being in.
You spend a lot of time about spacing, and I appreciate it. I believe in youth basketball is very important stuff to teach. I have a question. Like I coach in 2 under-19 World Championship games, and I watch a lot of under-17 World Championship games. Like almost all of U.S. national teams play like 4 out, one in.
Yep.
Right now in NBA, like the spacing is a little bit changed, and everybody is running this 5-out spacing. It's gonna be a changement about this, or the youth program gonna stay same way?
Well, our youth, we probably, we're trying to get our players ready to play at the NBA as well, because the players at our junior team, 16, 17, they have a desire and probably a skill level to play in the NBA. So we play a lot of the dribble drive, pitching, 4 out, quick strike stuff, where, that's a term the NBA uses, where, we want a quick play, like that 3-on-3 model I showed. What do you do? Ball drives, baseline pitch. We teach all that so they have of really how to implement that in their game, in the game. So we've probably taken a lot of stuff out, away, sets, and more just play. One of the things you'll hear us say a lot in practice is to a player, well, you figure it out. You're on the court, you have to figure it out. And sometimes we as coaches try to guide them too much in what they're doing. So a lot of we may have a post player but we want him to be able to play on the perimeter as well. So I hope that answers your question a little.
Yeah, for sure. Appreciate it. Thank you.
We have one more question, Coach. Ahmet, lütfen sorar mısın?
Hi, Coach. Thanks for joining us tonight. Glad to having you here. I just have one quick question. Would you share information about your development programs for coaches, both in-house and domestic? I think it's an important point of view to compare with our organizations. What you offer to your coaches, youth coaches. I mean, thanks in advance.
I heard your question correctly. You're asking if we would share like our basic curriculum with what we do at all.
Yes. Yes. How they step up their game, how your coach developing themselves with your effect. What do you offer to them?
What we offer our coaches?
Yes, coaches, not for players.
Yeah. I mean, we have a coach development manual that goes through our 4 different levels, drills, and how we coach at that level and things like that. I can certainly share that with anybody who wants it via email. And that's comprehensive. It's relatively new. 2016 we put the curriculum together, revised it, and we have obviously many coaches in the United States use that. Many coaches do not. I mean, we're just trying to get that out to as many coaches as we can. But yeah, definitely, I would be more share that with any coach who wants it. Let me give you my email address. It's D is in my first initial, Don, D Alter. I think on my screen has my name up there. Is that right, Murat?
Yes, Coach.
Showalter at usabasketball.com. dshowalter at usabasketball.com. And if you email me, I will send out any of the material I gave today that you want. I can send out our manual, our curriculum manual as well to coaches that we use. So I'm more than happy to.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Any other questions? Var mı sorusu olan? Okay, Coach. Just a second. There are two messages, I guess. Okay. No. Coach, thank you very much for your presentation, your thoughts and your knowledge that you share with us, and kindly you give us your email address and everything. Thank you very much for your time. We always give the last word to our visit speaker, Coach. So thank you again. Can we have your last words? Yes,
it was my pleasure. I've done many of these Zoom clinics, and I certainly I have a lot of really good coaches all over Europe and South America. So I appreciate any help that I can give. I am more than happy to. I look forward to joining you in person, hopefully maybe next year, and at your clinic as well. So again, I appreciate coaches that want to learn, and everybody that's on this Zoom clinic obviously wants to get better, and that's what we all do. No matter how many years we've been coaching, we still all want to get better. Thank you, Coach. But I just one coach's is quick question. Sorry about it. Yeah, no problem.
Hi, Coach. Could you please give us some information about snow whaling camps? What's the story and aims of these basketball schools? I guess started early 60s, I think. Thank you.
Right. Yep. Snow Valley Basketball School is the oldest camp. Actually started a player by the name of Bob Cousy, who was a famous player for the Boston Celtics, actually started the camp. And then a good friend of mine actually purchased the camp from Bob Cousy, moved it to California, and held it in the Snow Valley Mountains in San Bernardino. Therefore, it is a very skill development camp for players, but also it's like a clinic for coaches, because coaches get to watch a coach making a clinic or giving a clinic to the kids. So they only play one game a day at night. All the rest of the day is spent in skill development clinics by coaches. We always have a coach who organizes the clinic, and then coaches help at the basket. So very popular camp. We have about 1,500 players that we in 4 different sessions that we have here in my state of Iowa, and it's really one of those camps where players keep coming back to, and coaches coming back to, because of how much basketball is really taught and learned. And again, if you email me, I can give you the link so you can look for it online. And I always hire. We probably have 15 or 12 to 15 international coaches that work it every year. And I would say I would certainly welcome. Obviously, this year we can't have it, but next year we hope to have it again. So, yeah, thanks for that question.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
I think you're muted. You're muted.
Hocam, mikrofon kapalı.
Okay, maybe you can read my mouth. So, thank you very much, Coach. Have a great weekend. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you, Coach. Thank you.
Thank you.